I've been working out since 2016, and you probably couldn't tell. The reason for that is because I have always historically struggled with being consistent. I mean, sure, I could get motivated enough to work out for a month or two, but then inevitably something would come along and derail me for twice that amount of time. In this video, I want to show you the 3 things that helped me to ultimately break that and manage to work out for the past 200 days straight without fail. You're sat there one day feeling particularly sorry for yourself, and you come across a quote saying that it takes 66 days to build a habit. So you decide that you're going to take the next 21 or 66 days of working out, and eventually it's going to feel automatic, just like tying your shoes. And then somewhere along the line, you realize that squats still suck ass, and this hasn't gotten any easier. For that reason, you quit, only for the cycle to repeat over and over again. At least that was my plan, and the reason it didn't work is because a habit can be defined as a behavior done with little or no conscious thought. Now, I don't know about you, but I have never once in my life been halfway through a workout or a run and thought, holy shit, how the f did I get here? So instead, I started thinking about it as a routine, and that had 2 main benefits. First, you're expecting it to suck. It's gonna be shitty, it's gonna be horrible sometimes, and you're gonna feel like not doing it. You're gonna do it anyway, because it's a routine and it's not a habit. And second, working out becomes what Simon Sinek would refer to as an infinite game. You're not working out to get in shape, you're working out to stay in shape. And so no matter what happens, what comes your way, you're gonna work out because that's just what you do now.
And then infinite game, you have known and unknown players, no rules, and the point of the game is to keep the game going. And what happens is that people apply finite rules to infinite games, and then they wonder why it's not working.
What's an example?
The Vietnam War isn't a simple example that Simon Sinek gives, which is basically the U.S. lost the Vietnam War because they were applying a finite structure, which is we're going to win this war, and the Vietnamese people were playing an infinite game structure, which is we're going to stay alive and keep fighting. And as long as someone is staying alive and keeping fighting, they will beat the person who's trying to end something. And so the infinite frame always conquers the finite. And the thing is that most of the games worth playing are infinite. And so if you were trying to get in shape, you don't win getting in shape. The point is to stay in shape for the rest of your life. You don't win at marriage. The point is to stay married. You don't win at business. The point is to stay in business and keep doing business. So the point of the game is to keep playing.
Thing is, routines are fantastic, but if it was enough on its own, then we would all look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. And that is why I added the burn or burn technique. Demonstrate it, let me just ask you a question. Which one is more likely to get you motivated? I offer you $10,000 to get a 6-pack by this time next year, or I put a gun to your head and I tell you that if you don't have abs by summer, I'm going to put a bullet in your brain. Probably option number 2, and the reason for it is that studies show we are 3 times more likely to be motivated by avoiding a negative outcome as we are to achieve a positive one. In psychology, this is known as loss aversion, and it makes sense if you think about our ancestors. It's not worth going out to risk your life on a berry when you could get mauled by your friendly neighborhood saber-toothed tiger. So I use this to my advantage by leveraging money to get me to do what I want. If I didn't work out without a really good reason, like a death of a loved one or extreme illness, then I would have to pay money, ideally to someone that I didn't want to give money to. And you might be thinking, well, wouldn't it make more sense to give the money to someone in need via charity or something like that? And the answer is no, because then you're going to feel good about giving the money away, and you're going to feel good about being lazy and not working out, which is the exact opposite of what we're trying to achieve here. No, instead, you should give the money to that one person in your life who you know is going to waste money on some stupid shit. I actually got this idea from the book Indistractable, but it's fair to say that the author takes it a bit more extreme than I do.
So for me, I used to be clinically obese. I always hated exercise. But I knew one of my values was to take care of my physical health. So right now, I have a calendar in my dresser that I see every single day. And on that dresser, on that calendar is taped a crisp $100 bill. Now above this calendar, there's a shelf, and there's a Bic lighter on that shelf. And so this is what I call the burn or burn technique, that if I don't exercise in some way, it can be go for a walk, go to do some push-ups, go to the gym, any kind of exercise. If I don't burn the calories, I have to burn the money, like physically light it on fire. I can't give it away because that would make me feel good that I would make someone day and give them $100. I can't do that. I have to physically light it on fire.
So if you want to do this, here's exactly how to do it. Step 1, you're going to find someone to give money to. Step 2, you're going to clearly outline what a workout is and what the acceptable reasons for not working out are. I'll pop up here the rules that I had, but if I was to do it again, I would change those, but more on that later. And step 3, the final step, is to shake their hand and keep your word. As you can imagine, the first 2 steps work pretty well, but without this last step, I don't think there would have been much point in doing the workouts at all. See what I mean? I want you to imagine you're in your room doing push-ups. Okay, you'd probably get a couple done, but we're really not getting close to what your capacity is. Okay, now I want you to imagine that there's a man in your room watching you do push-ups. Okay, don't ask why. but he's there. Okay, now finally, I want you to imagine there's 4 people in your room and they're all competing to see who can do the most amount of push-ups. And only now are we going to see what you're actually capable of doing. Competition drives innovation, and on top of that, Robert Cialdini points out in his book Influence that humans have this innate desire to remain consistent to what they've said in the past, especially what they've said to others. So I used this idea and created a group chat with some friends who also wanted to work out, also wanted to lose some weight, and each of us would put the money on the line, and if we didn't post some evidence of a workout from an app like Strong or Strava, then you gotta cough up the dough. It means that not only do you keep each other accountable, but there's also this subtle level of competition in it. Who's going to be the one that quits first? Who's going to be working out like a bitch? No one wants to be the bitch of their group, and this leans into that. So this routine had a lot of upsides. With just home workouts, I was able to increase my lift on a lot of different exercises. Not only that, but I went from not being able to run for 10 minutes to consistently being able to run 8 miles. But that said, if I was to start again, there's a couple things that I would do differently. First off, I'd set the minimum standard for what a workout is a bit higher. The fact is, there's going to be days where you just don't feel like working out no matter what you do, and you're going to sink to that bottom rung. So I just keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out what a workout should be. Second is to make sure that you're picking people who are as competitive as you. You don't want someone who's not going to be trying, who's not going to be competing, because then your workouts are going to suffer just as much as theirs are. Finally, aesthetically, my results could have been better from this whole thing. And what I chalk that up to is the fact that I pretty much neglected the diet side of things for this whole routine, and instead just exclusively focused on the workouts. And anyone who knows anything about fitness will tell you that 80% of how you look is going to come down to what you're putting in your mouth and not really what you're doing with your body. All these steps are crucial in remaining consistent with these workouts, but if you really want to push yourself, what you need is discipline, which is why I made this video summarizing the top 5 books on discipline, which you can check out over here.